Howdy, folks. Kevin here with my thoughts on Extracted, episode 9, which was last night. I don't know what to say, I'll be honest with you. Just like we've been talking about, the show is much more about the drama in the headquarters than it is about being a survival show, and I'm sure that's the way they intended it. But I'll be honest with you, it's getting hard to watch this train wreck unfold. I'm glad there's only one more episode left. I'll be honest with you. Anyway, they started out with the same four left that were left at the end of the previous episode. They had a supply drop, and it was basically they could trade back and forth whatever they got in their box. They went out and stood in a circle around the campfire out there, and they got to look in their box and decide if they were going to try to trade it with somebody else, like kind of white elephant Christmas gift kind of thing. I can take your stuff, you can take mine, kind of thing. And there was some live grubs in a box, and there was some roasted crickets in a box, and there was a steak in a box, and there was peanut butter and an apple in one box. And they ended up doing all their trading back and forth and doing all those kind of things. And it ended up that Jake got the live grubs, and he actually cooked a few up. So instead of using them for fishing bait, which is what I probably would have done, but they are edible, so it's not a big deal. Haley got the roasted crickets, which she was actually happy with. Megan got the apples and the peanut butter. She was happy about that. And Woody got the steak, but unfortunately he had let his fire go out, and instead of enjoying some steak tartare, he ended up throwing it in the lake, because, like I said, everybody was kind of upset about that, but these people have been out there for long enough that they're losing their minds. You know, their brains ain't working right anymore. They ended up hiding a supply crate in the headquarters for somebody from the headquarters crews to find, and it laid there for a while with people close to it and never seeing it. And it ended up that Megan's dad, Jared, whatever his name is, ended up finding it, and there was a card in there that they could black out another survivalist feed, you know, the video and audio feed, for like 4 hours at a time of their choosing. And a couple of them were kind of upset they didn't see it, but, you know, it's kind of their fault they didn't see it. Then they had a survival trial where the crews in the headquarters had to build a torch and send it out to their survivalist. And then the survivalists in the field had to light the torch and make a trek across country and light a bonfire that they had set up for them. And let's see, what was the twist on that one? They had to vote at the end, and one survivalist got blocked from competing in the challenge, and it ended up being Haley getting blocked from competing in the challenge. So she was kind of upset about it, but then again, you know, you don't have to burn the calories to run across the woods and light up this bonfire. What else? So they ended up completing that successfully, and Jake won that one. There's a pattern here. Jake wins a lot of these. Of course, he's got 8 empty boxes, or 9, or whatever, in a row for supply drops for one reason or another, but he's got a couple of special supply drops that he had won, so he's doing all right. They had a wildlife alert where they had some bears roaming around camps, I'm surprised they haven't had more. I'll be honest with you, they're in British Columbia. There's bears there. Let's see. At that particular point, after that little thing was over, they decided to use the blackout card, and it was funny because they had actually prearranged who they were going to black out with another one of the groups, and they went back in the room, and Woody's support team goes, "They're using a blackout card. I know it's going to be us." Getting a little persecution complex, I think. I'll be honest with you, Woody hadn't been picked on as much as some other folks. So, but I'm still rooting for Woody. Woody's the old guy. Not as old as I am, but Woody's the old guy, so I'm rooting for him. But I think it's going to be Jake, or maybe Haley, or, it could be any of them at this particular point in time. But anyway, when they came back out, Jake's feed blanked off and all this kind of thing. And immediately it went from, I know it's going to be us, to, oh yeah, they're going to screw us later. You need to calm down. Now, I know this is all over. It's too late to tell you to calm down. I know that. But like I said, it's getting hard to watch the train wreck that is headquarters. Oh my God. Never seen so much crying in my life. Whining. Sorry. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud. Probably should have kept that in my inner voice. Anyhow, what else happened? They had a survival trial, and basically, someone was going to have to move, to abandon their camp and go move somewhere else. But it was one of those things where it had to be a unanimous vote, and everybody all the other teams were politicking for Jake, and Jake's pit crew held up for him, going, we've taken a lot of hits, we're not taking this one, kind of thing. So they hemmed and hawed around, and what it was is if they didn't pick somebody unanimously, then everybody had to pack up and move camp, and they goofed around, and that's what happened. Everybody had to abandon their camp. They got to take their clothes. They went back basically to day one, just a little bit slightly better than day one, because they got to keep their clothes. They got to have a canteen of water, and they had to pick 3 items that they had to take with them. Now, I'm not sure I would have went for the 3 items everybody picked, especially with Woody, because Woody had a choice between taking his ferro rod and taking his and taking a can of beans with him, and he chose to take the can of beans with him. I'd have ate the can of beans and took the ferro rod with me. Or if I couldn't eat the can of beans, I'd have still taken the ferro rod and left the can of beans there. You got to see 2 or 3 of them wolfing down what food they had, because they had 30 minutes or something to pack up and decide what they were going to take. Most of them made decent choices. All right. Fire, shelter, and water is what I would have went with. I'll be honest with you. But they could take water anyway. So I'd have taken shelter components and stuff to make fire with. That's what I'd taken. Anyhow, I'm looking at my notes. I actually took notes on this one, and we're almost to the end of them, so it's good news for you. After they moved to their new camps, everybody started setting up a little bit of shelter, except Woody. Woody basically back to where he was on day one, laying on the ground. So I don't know if it's going to bite him in the butt. I don't know if it's not going to bite him in the butt. He built himself threw a tarp on the ground, threw a blanket on top of that, and he's going to roll up in the tarp if it starts raining. So a little taco shelter, that's fine. It'll work. But he spent no time getting himself a browse bed together or any of those kinds. And I didn't see anybody spending any time getting a browse bed together. So got to get yourself off the ground. Got to get on something. Heat moves from the little item to the big item. So you laying on the earth, you're gonna get cold. So anyhow, that's about it. They gave him a little teaser back at the end, or right at the end, kind of a teaser of what's going to happen next. So they left some things in the headquarters, maps and a Morse code book and a whole bunch of stuff like that for the headquarters crew to peruse. And I'll be honest with you, we don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen next. So, with all that being said, see you next week. This was a 2-hour episode, and no one was extracted, so they still got the same 4. So we'll see what happens on next week's episode. And I think I thought that it would probably be 10 episodes, and I'm pretty sure I heard him say next week is the season finale, which will be the last one. And I'll be honest with you, I'm glad, because it's getting rough to watch. All that being said, see you in the woods.